So, welcome everyone to this week's 90-Day Burst. We have a very special guest speaker whom we always love to hear from, and that's John Bash from California. So he'll be imparting his pearls of wisdom as he always does on us. And we have Ed, our upline double diamond associate from the USA, as well from North Carolina. I always get North Carolina and South Carolina, but I know you're North. And yeah, from North Carolina, whom we'll be joining in a few weeks in Hawaii. And we have panelists that have jumped on. We've got John Allen from Sydney. All the panelists, just so everyone knows, are silvers and above. Silver, a lot of platinums up to double diamond. For the sake of time, we won't label everybody. We've got John Allen, we've got Sept and Jeska from up here in Noosa on the call. We've got Alan Fitzgerald from Toowoomba. Thanks so much for joining us, Alan. And we have Dan Doyle from Florida. He's not a Mexican anymore. He's up in Florida. He's left us Aussies. So he'll be home soon. We'll be seeing him in Utah next week. So yeah, you've been having a lot of adventures, Dan.
Yeah, a little bit homesick, but a lot happening over here. It's been awesome.
You'd have to be by now because you've been gone for a while. I get about the 5-week mark and start thinking it's time to go home. So yeah, well done.
You just want me to come home.
Yeah. Well, glad you're having fun. And we have Diane Nyloff who's joined the call as well. So today, as many of you know, we do theme these webinars based around A-listing. What am I? People here. There we go.
Sounded like someone was pouring gravel.
Or, yeah, a blender or something like that. Anyway, today's theme is A for Attitude, which comes around every 4 weeks, but we have a different perspective this month on attitude because we have John Bash on the line. And what we're going to do also this call, we'll get into John being able to inspire us here in just a little while. But until that point, as an overview for today's webinar, because all the new packs have rolled out and there's been so many changes, we did review them last week, but to ensure that everyone has a more simplified view of what's come out and how that's rolling out, we're going to go into that, not any detail compared to last week or what Ed and John did on their webinar recently, which I know I've emailed out to you all. So we'll touch on that so everyone's really understanding what's going on. So we're eliminating confusion so people are getting out there and being consistent in changing lives and building their business. So we'll do a little bit of recognition and we'll touch on a few takeaways from the Tony Robbins seminar that we went to here recently. So we'll jump straight into getting started. And John, if you're ready to go, because I know you're going out shortly, so if you wanted to inspire us with A for Attitude, you're in the spotlight.
I'm born ready.
Yes, you were.
Well, sure. You know, it's interesting because in my very first network marketing experience, the very first thing they did with us is they put us in a Saturday class that was called Advanced Management Training. We walked in and they handed us the book Think and Grow Rich, and we spent the entire weekend on that book. And at 20, turning 21 years old at the time, had a big impact on me because it was all about attitude. It was about getting your mind right in order to make your world right. And building a positive, optimistic attitude is something that we all desire, but developing such an attitude takes time. It's like anything in the especially in the early stages of development in our own progress. What comes, it usually comes in increments. It's not like something all of a sudden you've got this great attitude. You get these little bursts and then it goes from there. And but the problem is those things can easily be affected by the careless comments of sincere yet well-meaning friends and family member. We run into that in our organization. So I think it's important to understand the implications of that as well, how it applies to us and in our efforts in working with other people. And I remember feeling the amazement one day a few years back as I was driving down the street. There was this new restaurant that was being constructed on this vacant lot that I frequently passed. And day after day while driving by, I watched as the workmen sort of meticulously set the foundation, erected the walls, and installed the glass. And then one day, about 60 days later, the final brush of paint was applied, and this snappy little restaurant was completed. You know, but despite its fresh appearance, this newly constructed little diner lasted only about 6 months, after which another developer purchased the property, probably because of the favorable zoning laws, but because ultimately it ended up being apartments. But bringing in a large crew of men that I'd see as I drove by and heavy equipment, they began tearing down that clean yet freshly new restaurant. It was kind of a sight to see, and after only 3 days, it was gone. In fact, when they were through, there wasn't a single remaining sign of that new yet unsuccessful restaurant. And what literally had taken 6 months to create was completely destroyed in a matter of a few days. And that lesson to me was that I could learn illustration is that the same thing happens to the mind of the person who fails to protect his or her attitude. The positive attitude that often takes months or even years to develop, like that snappy little restaurant, can be reduced to rubble in a matter of moments. You know, think about what happens to the person who steps out of the crowd, the person who's willing to take the chance, and often for the first time in their life. You know, what happens is, and I'll tell you what happens is, if on their first attempt they fail, what they're going to hear from their friends and family is stuff like, "What were you thinking?" And "You should have known better." And, you know, things like that. And, you know, and a lot of times so that person, when they get excited about an opportunity like we have in ASEA, what they do is they get all pumped up and they run out and they want to tell the people they know and love the most. And they go to the person, they tell this first person with great enthusiasm and excitement. And when they're finished, that person typically makes them feel like it wasn't such a good idea after all. And then the person, when they go to the second person to tell it, they don't tell it with the same amount of enthusiasm, same amount of sincerity. And by the time they get to the third person, they don't even want to talk about it. What happened is that attitude of positiveness was killed by the careless thoughts and statements of other people. And we have to know that and understand that that's going to happen in advance and protect our people from stepping on those landmines, if you will, as they go. Because, you know, how does a person go about protecting their attitude in a world that seems hell-bent on bringing them down? And the way to protect your attitude is by choosing to protect your attitude. You know, like most things in life, it's a matter of choice. And it's probably best said, I remember back, Viktor Frankl, in his ribbon book, Man's Search for Meaning, when he said, "The last of human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." You know, Frankl, who was a political prisoner in the infamous concentration camp Auschwitz, was clearly subjected to the most dehumanizing acts imaginable, and he lost his entire family except for one sister. Yet he remained focused on his inner freedom, which carried him through that Holocaust and with his dignity intact. And, you know, every person out there needs to ask themselves, you know, where are they in their life right now? Are they going through a trying set of circumstances? Their life dealt them an unsuspecting blow. And if so, what kind of attitude will they choose to have in that time frame? Do they have the resolve to stand behind their choice, to become something new, to go out and create something more powerful for themselves and their family? Do they have that? I mean, where are they? You know, success or failure as a human being is not a matter of chance, luck, or circumstance, or even fate, or breaks, or who you know, or any of those other tiresome old myths and cliches that we all hear that are given to us by the ignorant that tend to use those things to excuse themselves from being successful. Because, you know, being successful, the funny thing about that is only the successful people will admit it, that you're self-made. Everybody else wants to come up with a reason why it didn't work. And, you know, it really is a matter of following some common sense paradigm of rules and guidelines that will allow a person to succeed. And you know, I have a manuscript, if you will, that I've written on what I call stories that sell, right? And it's stories and it's one-liners and it's all these different things. But one of them is that I call the world is your magic mirror. And this really kind of applies in this circumstance. And we all remember the statement, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? You know, we remember the wicked queen in the fairy tale Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. She was so insecure with her appearance that she continually sought confirmation from that magic mirror. But interestingly enough, our world, that is the world in which we live, is also a magic mirror. And its reflection will tell us everything we need to know about our lives, about ourselves. And just as the magic mirror existed for the wicked queen, the world is your magic mirror for all the people that are listening, and it awaits you at your beck and call. So take a moment right now and look around you. What does your magic mirror, your world, tell you about you? What reflection do you see? Do your friends and the people you meet seem distant to you today? Because if they do, perhaps that's because you've distanced yourself from them. Do they seem indifferent and uncaring? Maybe it's because you've grown callous and insensitive towards them. Are you having a difficult time attracting money to make your ends meet? Perhaps you need to look at the amount of service you're giving to the world. You know, the world is, I've heard way back, I believe it was Zig Ziglar said, and this goes back again to in my 20s, he said, most people stand in front of the stove of life and they say, stove, give me heat, and then I'll put the wind in. When it actually works the other way around. And it's all about us knowing. So if a person looks around themselves, they can ascertain what the problem is. Because the problem is not out there somewhere. And when we point our fingers and say, well, that's the problem, there's exactly 3 times as many fingers pointing back to the real problem. So when we understand that, we will know that the world operates on the law of cause and effect. Good cause, good effect. Bad cause, bad effect. No cause, no effect. It's a natural law which cannot be bent, broken, or altered in any way. It's the same law given to us by the carpenter for Means of Galilee that we all study once in a while when he said, as you sow, so shall you reap. It's a wonderful law because it can practically guarantee your success in life. And it begins with your attitude internally about you, what you have, where you're going. Many people have heard me say many times, you were not born a winner, but you can be a winner when you plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. And in order to get that level of expectation, you have to have confidence in who you are. Because if you don't have confidence, it's going to come out into the people you talk to. If, for example, you're unhappy with your results in life, you only need to increase your service. It's a simple thing to figure out. If you want more love and kindness from your relationships, you merely have to give more love and kindness to those people first. It's really that simple. And if we think of the importance of what being aware of this principle means, it means if you know what you want from life, you only need to focus on what it is you must give first. Because again, what you hand out must come back. So look at your magic mirror and see what it says about your life, your business, your relationships, your health, your friends, your coworkers, and decide what you want from each of those circumstances and simply start giving, because that's all you have to do and the rewards will follow. Because we all want good results from life in our home, in our work, in all our contacts with other people. The most important single factor that guarantees good results day in, day out, all the months and years of our lives, is a healthy, positive attitude about who we are and the way we cause other people to see that when they look at us. Because attitude, if you think about attitude, it is defined by the position, bearing, or indication of actions, feelings, or moods. And it is our actions, feelings, or moods that determines the actions, feelings, of moods of others toward us. Our attitude basically tells the world, when we go out into the world, it tells the world what we expect in return. If it's a cheerful, expectant attitude, it tells the people who come in contact with us that we expect the best in our dealings with the world. It is then really our attitude toward life that determines life's attitude toward us. Again, cause and effect. Everything we say or do will cause some form of corresponding effect. And if we're cheerful and glad and experiencing this miracle of life, then others will reflect that good cheer back to us. And we then become, if you will, the kind of people other people enjoy being around, and brings value to the table to those people that we're around. So finally, the deepest craving of any human being is for the recognition, self-esteem, to be needed, to feel important, to be recognized, and to be appreciated. And that includes our loved ones and everyone else with whom we come in contact with during our days. So in order for us to make these important principles kind of a habit-knit part of our life, what are some suggestions? All right, well, first of all, since your mind can only hold one thought at a time, make each thought you hold constructive and positive about you and your world. Look for the best in other people and in ideas, and be consistently alert for new ideas that you can put to use in your life. Don't waste time talking about your problems with other people, because other people can't solve them. Don't talk about your health unless you're saying something good about it or you're talking to your doctor, because it won't help you and it cannot help others. And I think you'll find that when you're talking about your problems, 50% of the people are glad you have them and the other 50% don't care. So the reality of it is you need to stay within yourself and be outgoing, upbeat, show that expectant, positive attitude to the world, and the world will wonder why you have it. And they'll come to you. It's the idea, as a Christian person, we're all taught as a Christian person that we should demonstrate that through our actions. That doesn't mean that we should stand on a street corner and say John 3:16 with a sign and spout a bunch of Bible verses. That means how we live is so attractive that somebody else wants to be like that. They want to have that sense of security, that sense of confidence. And if you can do that by going out and displaying it in your attitude, you become attractive to those people you're trying to bring to your business. So radiate an attitude of well-being and of confidence, the attitude of a person who knows who they are and where they're going. And you'll find all sorts of good things happening to you when you do. And lastly, treat everyone with whom you come in contact with as the most important person on earth. You do that because he or she believes they are the most important person on earth. So they should be treated that way. You start these types of habits and practice them consistently. And when you do, you will benefit from it for basically the rest of your life. But again, your attitude determines your philosophy. It comes from your philosophy. Let me say that backwards. I said it backwards. Your philosophy of who you are and where you're going and what you're capable of determines your attitude. Your attitude determines your actions. Your actions determine your results. Your results determine your lifestyle. So if you want a better lifestyle, you change your philosophy about who you are, which changes your attitude, that changes your actions, that changes the results, that gives you the lifestyle you deserve and you're looking for. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. It may be coming at attitude from a whole different perspective than we hear it throughout the week, but hey, it's who I am and it's what I do.
John, you're amazing. I want to clone you. We all need Johns to wake up to every day for your inspiration. And I feel like going out and climbing Mount Everest after that. We can finish the webinar right here, because this is how for everyone listening in, this is how you build your business. We're so grateful you chose ASEA so that we can all benefit from who you are. And what you've described is, like I said, how to build this ASEA business. It's putting people first and knowing who you are. And I love what you said when you said an expectant, causative attitude. I love that. That's absolutely brilliant, and it's worth pondering. And by the way, this is recorded, so we will be getting it out to everyone. Get it out to the people who didn't make this webinar today, because we're so fortunate to be able to have an amazing lineup of people on this call who we can learn so much from. Thank you, John.
Yeah, I picked up that we can only think really one thought at a time, and to think a grateful thought is so important, because if we come from a place of gratitude and really appreciating people, it's such a good place. So when you find yourself in that place of fear or doubt, just think of something you're grateful for and why you're grateful for those people. That is absolutely brilliant, John. Well done.
Well, you know, Bart, Jim Rohn used to say, when you see something that is strange, your response is, isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. And if everybody could take that type of an attitude, when you go down the street and somebody cuts you off, instead of getting mad and letting that thought process take over, or if you get mad at a spouse, for example, or your significant other, and what you do is you tend to replay what happened and what you should have said and what you didn't say. Instead of that, if you would just say, isn't that interesting? Get your mind on some positive thought of how you can treat that person in a better way. Even if you felt like you were mistreated, if you step out, in effect what you've done is you're throwing on them the issue. And really, if it has to be somebody's problem, it might as well not be yours. And the best way to keep it from being yours is to keep control of your mind, and don't give up that power, because the moment you start thinking about getting even, or the moment you start thinking about what you should have done, you're giving up the power to that other person. If they cut you off and gave you the finger or something like that, most people go around the rest of the day talking about the guy that cut them off and gave them the finger or whatever. That person has totally forgot about it. It's become a problem, and it's sucked the only thing that person has to give, and that's their time. So if they'll stay focused on what's in their mind, keep it positive, keep it focused, keep that single thought, then life will take on a whole different perspective for them. And with that said, you know, maybe because I do need to run, maybe if there's a couple of questions you want me to answer, I can answer a couple of questions. Otherwise, we've got a guest in from North Carolina too today, and so a guest of Dina's, and so I need to spend some time with them. So if that's okay, if anybody out there has a question, maybe I could answer it. If not, then we'll say goodbye.
Just before you go, John, for people who are very new on the call today, do you mind taking 2 minutes and explaining who you are, what your background is in the industry, just so that they know who you are?
Sure. I got started at a very young age in this industry. I was 20 years old, actually 19 going on 20 when I started. A friend from high school said, hey, you ought to come down and check this meeting out. I went to a business opportunity meeting and got exposed to this industry, knew I needed to be here. I was in college at the time. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I decided I'd do it. And in about 6 to 7 months, I'd made about $50,000, and at that time, that was a lot of money. And by the end of the second year, I'd made over $300,000, and my life but as I've said so many times, I was spending it faster than I was making it, and like I was going to the electric chair. I had, by the time I was 21, I was driving a Rolls Royce, and life was pretty good. I've blown a lot of money in my lifetime, no question. But I learned a lot of great. I would never have traded any of that early experience because it, excuse me, it shaped who I am. And one second, little Asia. It shaped who I am, and it made me realize that if I'm going to succeed in life, if it is to be, it's up to me. It's not on anybody else. Nobody else is going to do it for me. Nobody else is going to care like I do. So when you take on that attitude, life changes. And so I went through this journey of network marketing, and I actually took a break. And in that break, I did other things that I'd never done before. And I've always had the attitude that And somebody says, for example, if somebody said to me, can you play the piano? I'd say, I don't know, I've never tried. I never say no. I never say I can't. There's nothing I can't do. I mean, I can do anything. And that has been an attitude that has come from that. And then I've had probably 3 what you would consider home runs in the world of network marketing. And I've had about 5 or 6 that didn't go anywhere, maybe because of a lack of desire on my part. But this industry has been extremely good to me. And, you know, I sort of dedicate the fact that because it's been so good to me, I've traveled the world. I've been to places that the average person would have on their bucket list. Mm-hmm. I've done jungle cruises in Malaysia, in headhunter villages, to stuff in Europe and Japan. And I mean, I've been all over the world because of network marketing. And as a result, I feel like I need to give back. And so this is a pay it forward world. And a lot of times you don't do well in the process as you're doing that when you're putting other people first, as far as financially. But the world has a way of catching that up, and you get your due, which is why when I teach in the fast start process of people, if they'll spend more time with the people they get instead of trying to get more people, they've got a better chance of those people succeeding. That will take longer, at least initially, to succeed than it does for the person that's going out and recruiting a boatload of people. But the people that recruit a boatload of people ultimately have a lot of them that drift into the sunset. And that person that spends the time with individuals, because we're in a business where you don't build a network, or you don't build a downline, you build people. Mm-hmm. And when you build people, they build the downline, and they become the downline in effect. So that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm just here to try to help other people avoid stepping on all the landmines I stepped on.
Hey, John, got one more quick question for you. I know that you were being headhunted by a number of companies because you were looking for a new home at the time. Why did you choose ASEA?
Well, you know, the prior company before ASEA that I was working with was a company where we were touting the ideas of not having an auto delivery and not having a product and not having those things. But after so long, I realized you really do need that. You really do need those things because they mean a lot. So I knew that was part of the deal. But then when I met the founders of ASEA, I spent a great amount of time with Chuck and Tates on the fly-in that I did. Danny was at fly-in. We got a chance to hear from Vertus Norton. And Vertus, when he finished his talk, he sat between Danny and me. And I had a chance to converse with him for a while. And when I left there, I just felt the difference. You know, it's the same thing I try to help people understand when they're talking to a prospective candidate or whatever you want to call a person that you're thinking about introducing to a company like this. There's a feeling that comes across in the sincerity, in the passion, in the excitement, the enthusiasm of the person that's talking. And I could feel Vertus Norton's heart, especially when he talked about when he was offered the big bucks from the pharmaceutical. I know we're not supposed to say the name of the company, but Bayer Pharmaceuticals. Did I say that? No, I don't think so. But in any event, when he expressed that thought, and they basically said, people die every day, I felt his heart. So I knew he was coming from the right place. And that is such a big deal, especially for the company that I'd been working with prior to that. Their heart was not in the right spot. They had a great plan. They had a great compensation plan, everything, but their heart wasn't in the right place. And because of that, the company did not have the path to succeed that was necessary. And I saw that here in ASEA. The founders, the product, the chance to change a lot of lives, it makes a big difference.
Thank you so much, John. Go and enjoy your afternoon. Say hi to Dina. We really, truly appreciate you taking the time to be on our webinars, and we can't wait to see you counting down the sleeps in Utah.
Yeah. It's coming up. It's coming up in about a week, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll be there next
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll see you in Utah. So God bless everybody. And Danny, John, everybody out there, and Sept and Jack, I see you too, and Fitzgerald, I see you up there. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, John. Awesome job.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. What I'd like to do, we have another, last month actually when we went through attitude, Ed Weens is never a man who's lost for too many words. And when it comes to attitude, Ed you're always up. I've never seen you cranky, Ed. In 13 years, I've never seen you cranky. I don't live with you, but but you could.
I hide from you if it happens.
So what I'd love to do is have Ed speak for a couple of minutes on attitude, and then everyone on the panel to share with us, what are you reading and what do you do to choose your attitude every day? Because as we learned from John, and as we know, or as we were reminded from John, we do have to choose it every day. So Ed, if you have a few thoughts for us, we'd be appreciative of that too.
Well, I was just thinking that John was talking about a hypothetical scenario where somebody cuts in front of you in traffic or cuts you off, and I was thinking that never happens in Australia. You can't relate to that. Everybody's polite and kind and patient down there. It just, you know, he has to use a different line of reasoning, because I'm sure you can't imagine that happening down in laid back Australia and New Zealand.
Never.
No, it's great stuff. I think one of the takeaways for me and what John was sharing was the fact that attitude precedes, your attitude precedes the results. So many people will say, well, it's easy for you to have a good attitude, Danny. You're a double diamond and you're in the EMP bonus and, you know, you're traveling the world. Or Bart and Melissa, it's easy for you to have a good attitude because you're a double diamond. Look what's happening. And the truth is the attitude precedes results. And it's not a matter of, the results came because in the face of difficulty, in the face of challenge, in the face of setbacks, you adopted the attitude that ended up in the result of being where you are. And I think it's sometimes people tend to, they just tend to get the process reversed. And you've just got to adopt the attitude. Sept and Jessica, you guys have faced adversity. You faced difficulty, and you just had a good attitude in the face of it, and you've emerged from that process as winners. I was looking back at, I had a couple of quotes here that I thought was, here in the U.S., we're in football season. Football has just kicked off, American football, which is, it's different obviously than what you experience there. So college football is just it's a national passion here all across the country. There are pockets of every Saturday where it's just a focal point. It's just a huge deal. And I was in Atlanta the last couple of days. Took my wife and her daughter and her mother went along, and they were a shopping trip at a big merchandise market for my daughter's stepdaughter's boutique. So while they were off shopping, I had to find something better to do than that. So I found out I was just about a block and a half away from the College Football Hall of Fame. And so I took a little detour to go visit that. And it was just interesting walking through and seeing all the names. Of course, I grew up, knowing and watching some of these players play, and to see them now, memorialized and immortalized in the Hall of Fame. But there's Saturday here. There's ESPN is our big sports network, and every Saturday is a program called Game Day, and it kicks off at the location of some big game that day. But they profile all the games, the big college games are going to be played, and it's just game day, and it's that, I guess, they use that terminology because anybody who's played sports know what it's like to wake up and it's game day, and there's a certain focus that you assume there's a certain, that day is pointed toward the competition that you're going to be involved in. It's game day, and it's where everything you train for is going to be put on the line. And so walking through there, I bought a T-shirt. I should have had it out, I guess. And I've got the picture of it on my phone here. I don't know if you can come. Let me see if I can figure out a way for you to. Is it reading backwards, or can you read it at all? Let's see if I can.
Game day. Yeah.
We can read it.
There you go. Game day, every day. That's the focus. I guess that was the message that I got. Just every day is game day. And so I'm going to start wearing that shirt once in a while when it's game day, because I think that's the attitude we got to kind of go into it with, especially when you're in a burst like this. You're in a time of focused activity, where when you wake up today, it's game day. And what am I going to do to bring all that training and all that preparation and all that rehearsal and all that self-discipline to the line today to really hit it and score some points. So I guess that's how I would add on to what John said. He said it so eloquently. I don't want to take away from what he said, but today, every day for the rest of this burst, it's game day.
Thank you so much, Ed. So, Ed, what are you reading right now? What's beside your bed?
Well, I've got a couple political things that I'm reading, because it's kind of what we're in the middle of the season here. So that doesn't necessarily lead to good attitude stuff, I guess. But it's I mean, you go ahead. I'll go bring a copy of the book, one of the books I'm looking at, and I'll hold it up as well. Go to the next panelist, and I'll be right back.
Thanks, Ed. Well, we'll start in terms of what we're reading. I've got, funny that John mentioned it, I've got Think and Grow Rich that I have had next to my bed for 12 months or more, and pick it up every night, and I read a little bits and pieces from it. And also Viktor Frankl's book as well is on my iPad. Whenever I travel, I like to bring up his experience and get reminded of gratitude. So when I wake up every day, the very first thing I think of is I say thank you for where we're at, what we have, and set our intention for the day. So am I perfect throughout the day? Do I always remember that? Do I stick my finger up if someone cuts me off? Yeah, I still do that. But I'm getting better. So, work in progress.
For me, it's about really affirmations and getting the day set right. When you start your day with the right intentions, that really makes a big difference for me. So I'm just going to share with you an affirmation, an incantation, if you will, that I like to say. It's, today is a great day. I have the opportunity to show up as the best me ever. My life is a huge success. My beliefs create my reality. I think big thoughts. I relish small pleasures, and I handle all things gracefully. I'm deeply grateful for all I create and receive. My life is in total balance, and I am the best. So just a way that it helps me to really start the day and just put myself in a state where I can be as positive as possible with people.
Thanks, Bart. Dan Doyle, you're up. What are you reading, and how do you choose your attitude?
Well, time management, I'm being as possible, and you know, guys, I'm on the go all the time. So I get Suzanne to read to me, and that's the way I keep productive. We've just come back from Envision, as you know, the Envision conference, and you know, there's a lot of leaders right up to Tyler Norton that said, stay away from anybody or anything that's negative. Run quickly and as fast as possible and get any negativity out of your life. And it is so important when it comes to getting your attitude right, not to have any negativity in your life. I'm getting.
You're recording.
My mind in order all the time. I'm in the gym at the moment, under the team, and I've got to put up with this little view in the background while I'm training in the gym, which is absolutely spectacular. This is where we're staying at the moment. And, you know, end of the day, I'm getting my body into shape to get my mind into shape. We really need to have this running, to have this working better. And it's very, very important that you do spend time getting fit and getting your body in order. We are a product of the product, and we also got to look half decent too. So we are in the industry of health and wellness, guys. So it's going to go a long way to get your mind in order. As far as attitude, there's a lot of external influences that contribute towards attitude. And the big thing, the real big thing for me is really knowledge. There's a lot of external influences, but you really need to have knowledge. You really need to, you guys are on this call. We've learned a hell of a lot from John Bash, which was absolutely fantastic. These calls are the best webinars in the world as far as I'm concerned. You really need to get your team on these. And if they're not on here, send them the link straight away to this webinar. So knowledge is power, and your attitude is going to play when you're talking to somebody and you talk about the person that cuts you off in Australia, and you talk about your attitude. Now, somebody's going to say something on the phone to you that you're not going to like, and your attitude has to be right. If your attitude isn't right, that big game, that call you're waiting for, you're going to absolutely blow it. So have the knowledge to be able to counteract anything when anyone's talking to you. Now, attitude is going to give you posture. But keep in mind your posture has to be diplomatic. So as Eddie Robinson says, listen to people who are talking to you and be silent. They're just words shuffled around, and make sure that you guide that conversation with having enough knowledge to make sure that you win the game.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dan. Well said. And we appreciate your thoughts and input, because you've always got a fantastic attitude, and no doubt you develop the awareness through the day when your attitude's not as great as what it could be, and you remind yourself and certainly shift that straight away. So that's part of the being the human beings. And I've got to say, because we are running definitely out of time for what we have left to cover in this webinar, all that we can have time for is to mention what you're reading. So we can't get into how you choose your attitude now, which is unfortunate, because we could do another hour on this, which I love, but Ed's held up Eat More Chicken. Love it. We'd like to tell us more about it.
This is a book, the biography of the founder of a restaurant chain we have called Chick-fil-A. He passed away recently. And this is his advertisements that are always usually cows that are encouraging you to eat more chicken. Got great funny ads, but this is a book about eat more chicken and inspire more people. And if you ever go to a Chick-fil-A restaurant, you're going to see the ethic of service to others that he modeled throughout his life. And it's a great read.
Thank you, Ed. John Allen, what are you reading?
Or listening to?
G'day. G'day, everybody. The Power of Positive Thinking.
Love it.
Excellent.
40 years ago, I started telling people I was absolutely fantastic. And 39 years and 6 months, people actually started believing me. and that's how I am today. People all recognize me by my response. How are you? Just on attitude, just a quickie on attitude. I follow Liverpool Football Club. We played Burnley a couple of weeks ago that have just come up from a lower division. We had 80% possession. We had 93% of our passes went to the guys that were intended to. We had 14 corners and they had none. We had every stat. In fact, we hold the record of having the most stats, and we got beat 2-0. So we had everything going for us. We had all the right formula on the paddock except the result. And this is what happens to us very often. We go out there and we have the right attitude. We call the right people. We speak to so many people. We say all the things that we should be saying, and it just doesn't happen. The following day, the following game that they had, they won 4-0 against the team that were above them in the league that were expected to win it. So it's attitude. You've got to keep going no matter what happens.
So true. Thanks.
And the other thing, what John was saying before about you tell somebody you've got a problem, and 50% of them will be saying, "Great, I hope he doesn't get away. I hope he doesn't get out of it."
Yeah.
And the other 50% don't care. So if you've got a problem, talk to your dog.
Love it. We love our dogs. Thanks, John. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much. What are you reading? You need to unmute. Yep, there you go. Oh, you need to unmute. There you go.
Heart and Talent.
You're in.
What was that?
With intuitive guidance of the heart. Beautiful book.
Fantastic.
And just to add to that, for me personally, Jessica can share her own, but getting up early in the morning and getting on the stand-up paddle board with Roxy and Jessica, and we go out into the river in front and walk beach. It reminds us every moment how grateful what we do have, and it sets our whole attitude for the day, just being in nature, and start that way every day. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. So, Lorraine, and please just mention the book. We've got to get off. We've got so much to cover. Thank you so much. All of you, we could feature you in another webinar individually, but let's move on. So,
or
Lorraine,
what you're listening to.
Yeah, what are you reading and listening to? We'd love to hear from you. Lorene's not there. Okay, Carmel.
Hi.
Hi, Carmel.
I'm reading the Dalai Lama's. Hi, how are you? Hang on a second. I'm reading the Dalai Lama's cat.
Oh, I love it. Sounds interesting. Thank you. Alan Fitzgerald.
It's an awesome book.
Oh, I love it. Thanks. Alan, what are you reading or listening to?
Good morning, everyone. I'm reading a book about Billy Slater, the Queensland Australian rugby league star, one of the greatest of all time. You there?
Yep. Sounds really interesting.
I thought the screen's on.
Yeah, it has, because we can hear you, Alan. So thank you very much for sharing that with us, with all of us on the line. So what I'd like to do, very quickly, I'm going to do some recognition, and then we're going to move into a recap of what was announced at Envision. So it's all on one page. It's very simple to understand what the changes are, and we're doing it today so that you can keep being consistent, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call. You can keep being consistent when it comes to talking to people, using these forms, and not feeling overwhelmed by all of the changes that are happening. So when it comes to the rank advancements, we have Director 700 Sean and Carrie Farrell, who are in Australia but living in Canada right now. They're Australians. Well, half and half. Anyway, I've known Sean for 40 years and Carrie, his wife, for a long time too. So we're very excited about them reaching Director 700.
Well done, guys.
Okay, Vicky Bryce, congratulations on Director 700. Bruna Calcagno, and my apologies if I'm not saying your name right, but I've got to pretend that I do know what I'm saying. So congratulations on being Director 700 there. And let's see, Director 300, Tracy Edmeades. The Long Family Trust, we have Gillian Garbett and Ying Zhang. We also have Wanda Tang, as well as the Director 300s from last week. So we're really excited for all of you. You're learning the business, you're duplicating, and you're stepping into that leadership position. Now, rank advancements, you wouldn't guess who was number 10 top income earner globally right now.
This is actually fantastic achievement from globally.
We just need somebody to mute their audio.
Somebody's got some audio on their phone or something.
Thank you. If as panelists, if you could stay muted from now on, that would be helpful to us as well, so we don't have to jump out of the screen share to mute you. So,
so number 10 for top income earners, Mr. Dan Doyle. Well done.
Well done, Dan. So excited for you. That EMP bonus, everyone, is completely worth it. And emerging leaders, we have Catherine Wells on the line, who was number 2 top growth globally. Catherine's with another team. She's here in Australia, but we really want to recognise you, Catherine, because you're such an amazing team player. You do whatever it takes. You direct uplines overseas. You make it happen. You don't complain about them not being here or whatever it is that you've got going on in your life. You get out, you make it happen. You're changing lives, and we congratulate you for that. So thanks for being on the webinar. Okay, let's jump into the incentives. So we're focusing a little bit on Australian incentives here. The documentation's in your back office for New Zealand and the US. We'll talk a little bit about your documents too, but I am cognizant of staying on time and promoting some events at the end. So let's start with the Fast Forward Challenge that's been reintroduced again. So for Australia, it's Renew 28, Renew Advanced only, and it is a 14-day challenge. So the criteria you need to satisfy is it's within 14 days, as I said. You enrol 4 associates or preferred customers. They need to have 100 PV as an enrolment order, so 1 case of product. Generate 800 PV accumulative over that period of time, and be on a minimum 100 PV of auto ship. So you can activate several challenges, but they can't overlap. So you've got to end one and then start another, which is really exciting because the bonus is $175 Australian for the 25 Renew 28 sample tubes, which I know some of you on the call have on you all the time, Renew 28 brochures, and 1 Renew 28 photo book. So for the US, obviously, and New Zealand, you've got that opened up for ASEA as well, which is absolutely fantastic news for you guys. So that's something that's in place. Go into your library, back office, library under promotions, and this information is listed there. Did you want to talk about Double the Difference?
Yeah, Double the Difference is really an excellent promotion. This is really what it's all about, is making a difference in the world, changing lives. So so to register for it, you just go to Double the Difference at asiaglobal.com and click on there. Just send an email that says I'm in. And what they'll do is they'll send a bracelet out to you that says Double the Difference, and it's really a good reminder that we're out there to make a difference in people's lives. So you need to be active, you need to be on auto ship, and you need to be on auto ship with 100 points PV. So the idea with this is to enroll at least 2 new people each month, or a total of 6 people in the quarter. And so over a total of 24 associates from the convention till May 2017. It's interesting, they went through the numbers to show how the average bronze level associate, what the income level they were earning and how many people they had enrolled, and also the same thing with bronzes. And look, if you just have consistent, steady effort, you'll win the race, basically. So the idea with this is you'll get the Double the Difference bracelet. You'll be invited to some very special training calls from Tyler Norton. Companies pay big dollars for these kind of training calls. They have to do with his, what he and Vertus have taught for years, which is the StratLink program from their perspective. So you also have recognition to be published. There's a pin that you'll get. There's a ribbon on stage. You'll be recognized there as well. And a course certificate.
So many of you on this webinar are involved in Double the Difference program. It is an absolutely brilliant way to learn from the best in the business when it comes to strategy. And as we know, the Norton family are phenomenal when it comes to knowing how to build huge businesses, how to build people, and their investment in us, particularly from Tyler with Double the Difference, is invaluable and priceless. So learn more about that and become engaged. So the Total Health 150, for Australia only, it's Renew 28 and Renew Advanced. So you need to set up an auto ship of over 150 personal volume points. You receive 6 free Renew 28 sample tubes every month and 6 Renew 28 brochures every month too. So that's a bonus for staying on auto ship, and most of us have over 150 PV on auto ship because the 5-pack, for example, of Renew Advanced is 150 PV anyway. So that's a no-brainer there. It's a great incentive for us. Excuse me. Let's look at the Fast Start bonus.
Yeah, the Fast Start bonus, obviously we're paid weekly. You've got to be active on auto ship, of course, to participate in this. And the rule of thumb is that there's $20 per 100 points. So for example, if you enroll someone, they come in with 200 points of, and this is, by the way, on Renew Advanced and also on Renew. Let's say someone comes in with a Renew Advanced pack, it's 200 points, it'd be $40. If it's obviously if it's more, then it would be more. So based on your personal enrollments, and as we mentioned, this needs to be on the Renew and Renew Advanced. So the rewards, we can see that how the points work out. This goes to the enroller. Now they've changed this a little bit because the loyalty program and the bonus packs is a huge incentive that we're going to go over next. So the enroller would get, in this case, for 200 points, get $40. So they've changed this up a little bit from what the Fast Start bonus used to be, and long run, this is actually much, much better. So the rewards, for example, here's a family value pack. We're going to go over those packs in a second. This would be 500 points. The enroller would get 100 points for just enrolling someone with that pack. So it's pretty sweet. If someone came in with, yeah, that's $100. Thanks for the reminder on that. Also, let's say if someone came in with the Entrepreneur Pack, and again, we'll go through the details on that, you would pick up an extra $200 just on that enrollment. So it's a great way to earn money quickly.
Absolutely. We are so fortunate to be incentivized in the field as much as we are with promotions, because corporate are doing everything they can to support us so we get out there and make a difference, and to reward us for making a difference too. So this loyalty program is absolutely phenomenal. We're so excited that they've come out with this because it's associated with new associates and preferred customers. You activate it with 100 personal volume points. And you can earn points on your first auto ship order, you can earn points on enrollment orders, and you can earn points over time. So this is points, not dollars. So on your first auto ship order, if you're placing an order between 100 and 149 PV, you earn 20 points, and you can see 150, it goes up to 30 points. On enrollment orders, you can see the breakdown, 0 to 199 PV, you earn points on 5% of the enrollment order. 200 to 400, 10% of the enrollment order PV, and 401 to plus, 15% of the enrollment order personal volume points, which is phenomenal.
So just keep in mind that 1 point equals it's point for point. So a case of ASEA, for example, is 100 points. A case of a 3-pack of the Renew Advance is 100 points. So when you accumulate 100 points, that you can apply that toward the product.
And for existing associates, we've been thought of extensively here because we earn points with time, which really benefits us because we need to be on these products to benefit from them. If we're not taking them, we're not benefiting from them, and we all know that there's nothing out there that compares to what we have our hands on. So within the first 1 to 3 months, 5% of auto ship PV is earning points. 4 to 6 months goes up to 10%. 7 to 9 months, 15%, and 10 plus months, that's 20% of auto ship PV. So we're rewarded very, very generously and can earn up to 4.5 cases of free product per year forever for doing what we do, for building this business correctly, and more importantly, for changing lives and getting the product out there on people. So,
hey guys, the other thing that is so cool about this for the Aussie market is that guess what? ASEA counts on this loyalty program as well. So let's say if you're on 200 points and you continue that for 12 months, you'll actually get the equivalent of 4.5 cases of product per year. So one thing that we want to encourage is if you've got anybody that's inactive, you want to make sure that you call them up and say, look, if you activate in the month of September, that you'll actually get these bonus points for being on auto ship. So you'd want to go ahead and set them up on an auto ship. So Danny, I know that you had just texted across a comment. If you wanted to unmute your mic and make any comments on that, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah, just to reiterate how valuable the points are, as Melissa was saying, each point for the Aussie market is worth over $2. So if you've got 10 points in there, that's worth over $20. 100 points is obviously a case, which is $210, $220. So these points are very valuable, guys. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing now and stay on auto ship, or even increasing it now, and get this value back and be able to claim product for these points. I mean, obviously we can't do too much with the ASEA, but if you're getting product, the skincare range back, you can use that for Christmas, you can give it away, use it for marketing, but very valuable, these points. So they've done an awesome job, and this loyalty program is going to go for the lifetime of the company.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
This is a massive change for us. Having been involved in other companies, as many of you have on the line, this is really special that we have an opportunity to participate at this level.
I know on the flyers and stuff it says till January the 6th, but basically it's just, hey, if this is working, which there's no reason why it couldn't, this is absolutely a game changer. And look, let's have a look at these packs. And, I just want to mention that Melissa was really saying, hey, we need to put together, some pack sort of options so that people can really set themselves up for success. I just want to point out that a previous company that we were involved with, and the same company that Ed was involved with, and Danny Robinson and Tammy Gates, over in Australia, the price to get started with really, I guess the similar thing, an entrepreneur pack, the product that people would have to get started, was literally $10,000 to get started. So this is actually a very small amount. And the whole point of these packages is to set people up for success in their business. Because the more people that we help, for every dollar that you earn, it represents making a difference in the lives of other people. And we've got products that exactly do that, make a huge difference in the impact. So we want to help. So this does twofold. It helps impact more people's lives with the product, and it helps create more income as well for your business.
I'm not going to go into details about these promo packs, There are flyers in your virtual office, as I mentioned, but there's also been some field-generated flyers. It's 9 o'clock right now, so 9 a.m. our time, so I'm not going to bring those up. That was the intention earlier, but keep your eye on my emails, and also they'll be updated on A-Team support, the flyers for the US and for Australia and New Zealand. When it comes to visuals, they're brilliant, and it's a breakdown of the enrollment packs. And so here, just to let you know, the Entrepreneur Pack, to summarize, we're saving $636.50 is what we're saving people. Entrepreneur Packs are for people who say, I want to replace my income, I want to leave a legacy, I'm going to build this big. Or for people that are coming in as a business, we really need to encourage them to set themselves up for success. Personal product to get out on people, and product to be able to sell retail if that's the direction they want to go. They've got to experience this to know the benefits. So, and we're not doing them any justice at all. If they say, I want to build a legacy income, we set them up with a case of product. It doesn't quite match where they're at, and what we need to do is to support them with where they're at and what they want, the direction they want to head in. Okay, Family Value Pack has been set up with saving $272 Australian and 50 cents, which is phenomenal. And the Personal Value Pack, there's a saving of, actually that's not right, there's a saving of $39.50. Forgot to update this, but it's all properly on the forms. So what I want to do now just quickly is promote a couple of upcoming events that you really need to know about, because like I said, we've gone a little bit over time. Trish and Bob Schwenkler, we are so fortunate to have ASEA's very first presidential diamonds coming out to Australia. I'm not going to go through the towns and the details. I mention them on every webinar. But book your tickets. Get 5 tickets yourself. Find 4 or 5 people for those tickets, if you're not including yourself, and then ask your team members to get 4 or 5 tickets. Let's give Trish and Bob a very big Australian, New Zealand welcome. Let's get them out here and get bums in seats, because they are an inspiration as #1 income earners in ASEA.
Right now is the time to really create momentum, guys, with everything that we've got happening. This new loyalty program, these new packs that are created, and setting the goal for how many people that you're going to get in front of Trish. All that is really going to help to set you up for success. Look, if you wanted to hit the next rank, if you wanted to get to silver, to bronze, silver, gold, platinum, get into EMP bonus, get to diamond, this is the opportunity to do exactly that. Look, Melissa did a fantastic email that all of you should have gotten, and that email shows these packs. I don't know if you want to pull up the pictures of those at all, but there's pictures that show exactly what's in that pack, what the savings is. It's just a really, really great way to go over that. So you've got a picture with the enrollment form, and just open it up and click on those links on the email. Look, I know that we get a lot of emails. It's sometimes a challenge to see how many people, it's frustrating to see how many people don't open up those emails. And we understand that people get bombarded with lots of things, and time is a precious commodity, but I can assure you that last email that went out is definitely worth going through. Open up all those documents and see exactly what the loyalty program is, what the packages are. It's all explained in there. It's all very well done. And
convention. Everyone you speak to, speak about the convention next year in Salt Lake City, Utah. They get the manufacturing plant tour. We've booked our tickets. We've got our accommodations squared away. We're definitely going, and it's an experience that you'll hear more about, but that people will never, ever look back from. I know I'm really conscious of going over time. I know I keep mentioning that because I usually don't. But in terms of this call being about attitude, when it comes to the 90-day burst, which is what these calls are designed for, revisit your agreement. Revisit the agreement that you've given with yourself. So have you identified and written down your why? Have you committed to the full duration? Are you getting your team on these calls every week? And how many hours minimum a week have you committed to your business? Are you keeping your attitude brilliant by listening to the charge up calls we're so fortunate to have access to? Have you identified a mentor and a buddy, and are you keeping great communication with them? Have you revisited your names list? Are you working through that so you can make a difference in the world? And are you reading Eric Worre's Go Pro books? A few more housekeeping things. Are you mastering three-way telephone calls? and the 30 presentations in 30 days. You're having fun with that. Do another 30. Keep doing that for the entire length of your business. Are you filling in your organization coaching reports? And if you did sign it and date it, you put your name there and you're doing whatever it takes, congratulations. And if you've signed it and dated it and you're not quite on track, you've got an opportunity for a course adjustment. So we are so fortunate to have you all on this webinar. We put this together for all of you and for us, for our growth as well. We had a lot that we were going to cover with what we learned at the Tony Robbins seminar, but we can copy that, all that information over for when Attitude comes around. Thank you, Ed, and thank you so much to all the panelists on the line.
I just want to reiterate, you guys, about Trish and Bob coming over. I've known Trish and Bob for, gosh, 22 years now, and they're absolutely genuine. They're inspirational. Bob's an engineer, so he's going to be quiet and laid back. Trish is a fountain of enthusiasm, but she's absolutely sincere. And get everybody you can out to hear Bob and Trish. It'll motivate your team.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Ed. And also, we are very fortunate next week because we have Bo and Cindy Buck, Triple Diamonds from Colorado, whom Ed and Bart have known for a really long time. They're going to be on the call on this webinar. And we would have just arrived in Salt Lake City, so we're going to find a hotel around there somewhere to get internet to make this webinar happen. So create a phenomenal week. Look forward to hearing feedback from you. We'll get this recording out to you as soon as possible. We love you all very much. We're so fortunate to be on this journey together, and we'll catch you really soon. So thank you very much, everyone.
Hey, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Awesome job, as usual.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Melissa, Bart. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks,
Well
Melissa.
done, guys.
Awesome.
See you next week.
Absolutely.